to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ebro in the Morning, Laura Stiles, Rosenberg, Aljamain Sterling on the program.
Wait. You know his nickname, right?
Funkmaster, I think, or something. Flex or something.
Funkmaster.
How are you? Now, you realize you're in the house that Funkmaster Flex built.
Yeah.
How did you
Dropping
become?
bombs?
Yeah, how did you become
hold on.
Funkmaster?
I got a bomb.
Yeah.
Yo, you want us to give you the bomb so when you come out at UFC in Newark at the Prudential Center?
That'd be cool. I think that'd be a nice little
You should
touch.
be able to hit.
Honestly, you probably should hit up Flex, our Flex, and have him come out with you.
That would be tight.
He'll DJ.
That'd be dope.
No, if Flex came out yelling for him, can you imagine if Flex just came out yelling at everyone there? My man, Aljamain Sterling. That would be
Well, and you from
crazy.
New York. You from Long Island, Massapequa?
No, I live in Massapequa now, so the nice area. But I'm from Unionville, Roosevelt, Unionville. But now I live in Massapequa.
Got it. Big money.
How'd you get that nickname?
Moving on up. Work hard, play hard.
How'd you get that nickname?
It was like my wrestling style back in high school and in college. Very like untraditional, unorthodox style. Just a lot of scrambling. I wasn't good at hitting sprawls, which is like a defensive tactic. Like someone shoots at your legs, you sprawl to stop them. I wasn't very good at that, so I would just throw people and do all kinds of crazy weird stuff, and they just called me Funky. And there was another fighter named Funky already, so I didn't want to take his name.
So you took Flex's. I like it.
Yeah.
You're like, he's not coming for me.
I think he approves.
Now, but you grew up listening to Flex, I'm sure. If you're from the area.
100%.
Yeah.
I get tagged in his stuff all the time. I'm like, that's not me, but I'll take it.
Why, what's your IG?
Funkmaster MMA.
Funkmaster MMA, that'll do it.
Yeah.
He's lost the master, though, altogether.
Yeah, he's just Funk Flex.
Yeah, he's Funk Flex now anyway.
Okay.
He's kind of lost the master, so now you are the Funk Master. You know what I mean?
All right,
And you
I'll take
have,
that.
is this the biggest fight of your career on Saturday night?
It is in terms of what's at stake. For me, this would be the first time in modern MMA for someone in the bantamweight division to defend the belt 3 times. So it's a big opportunity for me to set some more records and make some more money and have just make the stats harder to beat. So I'm chasing that.
And you're up against a guy who's, a pretty impressive, well-known, beloved commodity in Henry Cejudo as well.
Exactly. I don't know if he's beloved.
Respected? How about respected?
I would say he's respected.
Respected. Beloved is strong.
He's a strange cat. I'll say that.
People don't like him.
He's weird, man. He's weird. That's the best way I could put it. He's a strange dude.
Does he know you think he's weird?
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
I tell him all the
What
time. It's like
makes him
you're
weird?
an oddball, man. He really is. You have to just have a conversation with him. He does like these weird mannerism things and the stuff he says. He's known as the king of cringe. That's what people know him as.
So that you're right. So yeah, that's.
But
weird.
it's just like socially it could be very awkward for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because of his childhood. He didn't have much of a like. I mean, I got teased a lot. We got kind of bullied a bit. I got 20 plus siblings, a lot of brothers. So we
You have
got into a lot
20
of
plus
fights and things
siblings?
like that. Yeah. So,
You can't just gloss over
Yeah,
that.
we gonna have to stop here for a minute.
14 plus.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
He's
of us.
Jamaican.
See, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So these are a lot of half siblings.
A lot of half siblings. My side there's 8 of us,
So there's 8 that are your both parents,
including myself would be
Okay.
8. Yeah.
and then the other how many?
It's a lot. I honestly lose count. I'm at like 20, 21.
Seed Pondy Earth.
Yeah.
Dad was Seed Pondy Earth.
Blessings to everybody. So it's like I lose track of like who is actually family, but
And who's play?
who's play. Yeah, I was like, that's my cousin, my auntie, but not really.
right.
But your father's a Rolling Stone. Is that the situation? That's what it sounded like.
I guess he's like Gandhi or something. I don't know.
He's just there's been so. Do you know all the siblings?
I know most of them. Most of us we have kind of I would say a good relationship now that we're older. When we're younger, man, it was brutal. We beat the crap out of each other. We snitch on each other. We steal things from each other. Just straight up just bullying. It was just very toxic. But now that we're older, we can kind of
How many of you
appreciate
live
things.
together?
Yeah.
I think at a time there might have been 14 of us in the household.
Yo, isn't that? Do you realize how wild it is that like we all talk about family in like a very general way, as if family is the same for anyone.
Right.
And like
right.
you had one brother. Like we have a couple of
Yeah,
none of
like
us have
a
more
sister.
than you have a sister. I have a brother.
And my
You
lady
wanna
had a
borrow?
similar.
You
My
wanna
lady
borrow?
had a similar circumstance. She had
I know.
a
I
lot
was thinking of
brothers and
her.
sisters living in the house together. Yeah,
On Long Island, right? Or Queens?
Long Island.
On Long Island.
Yeah.
So wait, so you had to have a pretty big house.
Far
though,
Rock
no?
first, and then Long Island.
It was. I think it was a good size. I would say
Enough room for 15 people.
there was like a lot of bunking up.
Yeah, you made it
sleeping
How
in the
many
same
people in
bed.
your bedroom?
I want to say like there was like 4, if I remember correctly. 4.
So 2 bunk beds, 2 sets of bunk beds.
Either that, we had bunk beds, and then we moved in with my other side, and I think that was like just 2 big beds, kind of thing.
Or a bunch of people be in one bed.
Yeah. So
That's
it
intense.
was tough, man. It was some interesting times growing up for sure.
Are you?
Survival.
Are you? Do you have a close relationship with your father?
No,
Does he have a
He's-
close one with any of them?
I don't know. I've got a very weird upbringing.
I'm kind of picking that up.
Yeah,
It's different.
yeah.
I'm picking up that it's different. But look,
Street
but at least you
pharmacist.
and you came out pretty normal.
I had my ways. People will still say I have my ways, but
That's why
I
we call him the Funkmaster.
I worked out. I
got his
guess
ways.
I'm doing okay.
What do you think?
I
are
guess, right?
I'm doing all right.
do you have some like qualities that you know are weird that you're open about that you find to be like sort of the ways that you were describing?
I don't know. I leave that to people to kind of. I know I have like aljo tendencies, is what they call it. Like things that I do that only aljo does. I don't know. So maybe I do. That's what people tell me. So
What would be an aljo tendency though?
I don't even know. I mean, I talk to myself a lot, but out loud. I know that's one thing, and people will find that kind of annoying, but it's more so for me, so I don't forget. That's like an aljo tendency.
So give me
that's
an,
just one thing.
So like an example, like you would literally like be walking out and be like, I need to make sure I bring my blah blah blah.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Or I'll say something without even saying I need, and they'll think that I'm talking to them, but I'm really not. I'm just talking to myself. It's like, what do you say? What do you want? Like, no, that was for me. You know, so it can be a little strange. in
Hey,
that
listen,
way.
It's like
if it works for
almond
you.
milk.
Yeah.
Like, no, I gotta
Now,
put it
now
Almond milk.
because so like my brother's 5 years older than me.
Okay.
So like I don't mind sharing. Like
Yeah.
I'm not. I've never felt like my shoes, clothes, food was encroached upon in any way. But I've been told by people who are like from really large families, they're tired of sharing, bro. Like, and so when they get older, they're like, nah, bro, this is mine. Like I am not shit. You're like that?
Yeah. You want to write your name on the food.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? It's real.
Well, what I will say that what is mine is mine. You know, if it's community, I make sure I put it out there. I'm like, this is for everyone. If it doesn't say that or I don't say that, don't touch my shit. Don't touch my shit. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's just how I am.
When I picked that up, if you saying your brothers and sisters, they stealing from each other, robbing each other, fighting.
One of my brothers stole my bike and sold it to one of my friends, and then I thought he just stole my bike, but found out that he sold it to him.
Oh my
Like, you sold
god.
my bike.
How old are you at the time when this happened?
At the time, I was probably 13, 14, something like
And
that.
how old was your brother?
He's 2 years older than me, but he was a lot bigger. I was much smaller back then, so I couldn't really do much. I just had to kind of just get beat up a bit.
He doesn't
Now,
want,
was
he doesn't
the
want that
catalyst-
ruckus now though.
Was that the catalyst for wrestling though too? Was A, I'm not afraid to fight because I've been fighting bigger people and my brothers, whatever. And then B, I got bigger brothers and sisters that kind of be getting at me. And
I did a lot of slap boxing.
Got it.
My brother was in the Bloods, the one I'm talking about that stole my shit. But did a lot of slap boxing going up. He even made me fight some of his like, what would you call it, his big homies kind
The
of thing.
ops.
Yeah, well no, his
like in the crew.
yeah, to like kind of like
The OGs,
prove
if you
myself
will. Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
And you know, I got some respect. So with that being said, I don't think that's what made me start wrestling. What made me start wrestling was like I got cut from the basketball team. I made the first day of tryouts, didn't make the second day, but that's when Uniondale was like topping the state. It was topping Long Island. So it was a hard team to crack the lineup.
What about community food in the house? Was that must have been a thing, right?
Oh, you fight for like the seconds or the last servings or the extra piece of chicken.
Or like here comes the fresh cereal, like the box of cereal just got here.
Yeah.
You get one bowl. By the time you get back to it, you're like, whoop.
It's over.
That
done.
AOL to get on the computer because there was only one computer.
Dial up? Oh, you
Dial
better
up.
dial up.
God.
To get the house phone, to if I had to call a girlfriend at the time to get the house phone, my brother stayed on the
Right.
phone all night. I'm like, yo, bro, you're not the only one in the house that wants to talk to people.
That's
So
just
little
like
things
jail.
like that.
That
man.
was
One
like
line.
jail.
One line, yeah, one line.
Yep.
That's a lot of kids for one line. It's during
But
those teenage years when you want to.
That's all. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
It was crazy, man. It was an interesting upbringing, but I appreciate it. It makes you appreciate everything more. Even
Well,
higher.
so how do you deal with the? I mean, you're the famous one now in the family, and you're doing pretty well. I mean, listen, I'm always up about UFC fighters getting even more than y'all get, but you do well for yourself. Is that hard? Is that pressure? Do you have people on you for help?
Definitely people on me for help. I think there's almost like an expectation or kind of like entitlement from some people in the family sometimes. I
The
do
brother
what I
that
can.
sold the bike though, you don't get nothing, bro.
He's another. I mean, I've helped him out plenty, so he's got his.
Oh, so you showed love. You
Yeah,
let
I still
bygones
show
be
love,
bygones.
man. Yeah.
You bring up the bike though?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
That's never getting let
Like,
go.
I forget, but I don't forget. I remember.
right.
You
Let's bring
remember
up
when
this
you
bike.
did that? Yeah. I held you down. So I hold them down as much as I can. I bought my mom a house. Pretty much a lot of my sisters are living there and whatnot. So
Nice.
I'm happy that I was been able to do that, do some hard work,
Does your mom? Do you get help? Like I would almost imagine you almost need some like protection within the family to be like, hey, get off Aljo's back. Like he can't, because you can't care for everyone. Like if it's a family of 5, okay. But like you have too big a family to literally try to take care of everyone. You won't have anything anymore if you were to do that.
I try explaining that in like words that don't come off as strong. 'Cause sometimes I can be told
You want me to do it?
I'm too direct.
I'll call.
They don't want to
Yeah.
hear from you. I
But-
got news for you. I don't think they want to hear from some white dude about their family.
I'm not just some white dude. They're from Long Island. I'm the guy they hear on the radio. From
Yeah, but my mom does a good job of that with like my immediate side. So
she can help keep people like, hey.
Yeah, like if they say anything, I know she'll tell me that she like tries to correct and check and motivate them to like, kind of go out there and keep pushing for themselves kind of thing.
You're a good man, bro. Big up to you, man.
I appreciate
Because
it.
you're
I
even
try,
in
I
this
try.
interview saying the right words. Because if I had that many brothers and sisters, I would be on the radio like, yo, check this out, fam.
Yeah, we know you would.
Don't call me no more, bro. Y'all good.
I'll see you at Christmas.
I'll see you at
maybe.
Christmas.
Yeah, I try to help out as much as I can though,
You see, look at this quality human right here.
He's trying.
I try. If I was getting those NBA paychecks, it'd make life a lot easier.
Well,
but,
how do you feel about what you're a champion? You are a marquee fighter in a marquee fight this weekend at the Prudential Center. Do you feel appropriately paid?
Depends who you're asking. If you're asking me, I mean, there's always room for more, but who doesn't want to get paid more at their job? I know that's always like the UFC pushback to the fighters that ask for more money.
Your job ain't like everybody's job.
It's not. But especially when you're at the top of the game. But, I do appreciate the push that they've been giving me for this fight. This is my first main event. I'm hoping after this, get past Henry the way I think I can and should. We could talk and bump that up a little bit more.
By the way, congrats. Just getting this main event. Because I thought that the other day we're airing the commercials on my other radio station. And I heard, when I heard the commercials, I was like, Aljamain's got a main event. That's
Main
a big
event.
deal, man. I sat in a Metro PCS store with you like 7 years ago.
Yeah. It's cool, man. Life moves fast. So it's like trying to take this all in and just enjoy the road, enjoy the ride and the opportunity. Like this don't last forever, One day this door and the music's gonna stop and the door's gonna close and I gotta make sure I take as much as I can. So even like being here, like this is something I've always wanted to do since like the beginning of my UFC career. And then never really having the opportunity to fight in New York to actually try to push to come out. So finally being right across the bridge and being able to come over to something that I've been listening to since I was a young buck. That's dope for me. So it almost feels like life comes around full circle.
That's awesome.
I also too, I think there's so many people and kids that I know that are in Brazilian jiu-jitsu now. Like
Yeah.
I think it's popular as it's ever been, probably.
It should be.
Yeah, I wonder how often you come across young people who think they're ready to compete at your level. And I would love for you to articulate the difference between the levels in the game. I know it seems, because I'm sure there's people who are just taking some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, won a few matches, and they think they're ready for you. You know what I mean? But could you articulate the difference beyond just experience?
It's like the unlicensed electrician that could burn your house down versus the licensed electrician. You know what I mean? It's just something, going to the bar and watching a fight and being like, this is what you think it looks like versus reality. When you actually get in there against somebody that actually knows what they're doing. sometimes you see those videos with like the bullies that try to fight someone that actually has some training. You know, they're trying to retreat, but they keep going, and then eventually they get washed up. And you're like, you kind of ask for that, you know. So sometimes people needed what my mom would say, "Who can't hear off a feel," you know. So sometimes you don't know, you got to feel it for yourself and figure it out. That's the best teaching mechanism, I would say.
And if somebody wanted to follow being a professional, you know, mixed martial artist as a profession, what would be advice that you would give them?
I would start with wrestling. Wrestling is the strongest base. You learn how to center your gravity, top control if you do get in those positions. And then from there, you could build on the boxing base, the striking base. And if you like striking, I think that's the way to go. But it's more entertaining. I think people understand striking a lot more. But if I'm going to start and I'm going to teach somebody, I'm like, yo, you need to learn how to wrestle first. And it's harder to learn wrestling as an adult versus back in middle school and high school. And I started in 10th grade. So I
started wrestling in 7th.
Oh, you wrestled?
I wrestled for 3 years.
Okay.
That was
You got out just when he was getting in.
Bro, we're talking 1986 when I was in 7th grade, probably.
Okay.
It was the hardest training, even to this day, the hardest training I've probably ever done. You know, spitting off we were spitting off 4 or 5 pounds to make weight, run around we didn't even have plastic suits. I mean, I'm 7th grade.
Garbage bags,
So we just got garbage bags and ran around the football field to try to make weight. You know, as a 7th grader, think about that. That's like you're doing some real discipline at that time
it's
in your
hard,
life.
man. And they say once you wrestle, everything in life becomes easy. And I truly do believe that because it's
I never heard that expression, but maybe that's why I've been able to keep the tenacity I've had so long at work.
Because none of it's wrestling.
Bruh.
Yeah.
There's nothing you're going to go through.
Harder
And not even a wrestling match.
No. Just the training.
The training for the match.
Yeah, the practices, just the losing the weight, having to dedicate that. Now I get paid to do it, which is nice. Because wrestling, you go week after week, you do that, but it's just for the love of the sport. Now you actually have to, we do it for the love of the sport, but we actually get compensated.
So you showed up, where did you go to high school again?
Uniondale.
So at Uniondale High School, you showed up in 10th grade and were like, I'm going to give this a shot? You just randomly tried?
Yeah, the coach came over to me. He knew I got cut. He's been trying to get me out my whole 9th grade year. My best friend Enoch was trying to get me out my whole 8th grade year, 9th grade year, and I didn't want to do it. Back then, it was considered like, it was shunned upon because like Caribbeans, we see 2 guys in leotards.
Rolling around, someone got something to say.
I got news
it's
for
a
you.
little sus. We're like, yo, we don't do that.
It wasn't even Caribbean. I didn't
things.
grow up around a lot of Caribbean people. It was just dudes just hating.
Yeah.
And girls didn't think it was fly because you had your headgear on.
Yeah.
You was in a leotard and you're like in your little stance and shit about to shoot the legs and do all your fucking shit. Bulldog, somebody didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
you
what
get
people
ringworm
look at.
from the mat because everybody done sweated on the mat and you're getting ringworm on your skin and shit.
Well, those are nasty people who don't shower. Go wash your ass, man.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
They out here, bro.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. There's still people in the gym I be seeing that do stuff like that. I'm
So-
just like, what's wrong with you?
So you were apprehensive about it,
Yeah, very.
and then how to get you to
I
decide
thought I
to
was
do
gonna be in the NBA, man. I thought if I was playing as pro sport, I would have been in the NBA or the NFL. I really did believe that.
How tall are you? Like 6'1"?
I was like, well, me right
Yeah.
now, I'm 5'7".
You're 5'7". You never made it. We're sitting down. You're
Yeah, I'm 5'7".
So it never happened for you.
No, not at all. The doctor told me I was gonna be like 6'2", 6'3". He's like,
Fucking
Oscar
liar.
Slaughters. I want to go back and sue his ass, but it worked out. Life
Oh, you
worked
had
out.
Oscar Slaughter, your knees was hurting.
Yeah, so he was like, yeah, the growth plates, you're gonna be really tall, and then I stopped at like 5'2" in high school, and then
Oh, wow. So you were
sprouted
little in
up.
high school. You were
Yeah.
really small too.
yeah, I sprouted out a little bit more in college, and that's not even that much sprouting, you know.
No, it's not. If you land on the same height as
5'7".
me, let's be honest, you didn't sprout.
Yeah,
All I gotta do is
very
for you.
little.
But
But that's how I started.
and you took to it like right away. Were you pretty good?
Yeah, so the way that the coach sold it, we came down for the very first practice. He made it fun. It wasn't like a structured craziness where he's teaching and making it boring. It was like you come in, it's like warm up, and then we just kind of got into matches. And it was like the goal is just to try to take the person down, attack their legs, try to take them down any way that you can. And there was like no real time limit. So that's what made it fun. I was like, oh, this is like bodying up in the hallways with some of my best friends or outside in the parking lot or something. And I took a liking to it. I was good at it right out of the gate.
Like quick as shit, too.
Yeah, and
Low to the ground.
It was just like I just understand how to move like that because we fought each other a lot growing up. We play these games. We watch those kung fu movies with the weird sound effects on the VHS.
the voiceover.
Yeah, so we do that and we practice and emulate all that stuff. So it was almost like I had martial arts background without actually doing anything officially. So
And at what point did you know, like, oh no, I'm really good at this?
my sophomore year, the first year, because I got to the conference. I went to the conference. I qualified to go to the not the national tournament, the Nassau County Championships, and That was hard to do. I won my first match, lost after that. And after that, it was just like one of those things, like I knew I had something here. And then from there, I tried to spike my grades up so I could go D1, but I kind of shit the bed my freshman and sophomore year before I realized like the NCAA clearinghouse and you had to do all these crazy things.
Well, your grades weren't good enough. Just
My grades were shit.
Yeah.
I didn't apply myself. But then when I realized I had to apply myself to actually go somewhere, I was like, oh, that's what they meant by your GPA on a 4-year average.
You were like that
tough.
pesky first and second year part of the average was not doing it.
Yeah, I think I graduated with maybe a 70, 71. And that was pulling it up from like a 65, like barely trying.
Right.
But just when you don't have parents that's like on top of you other than just getting out the house and going to school. That's all the Jamaican parents care about. Come out to the house and go out of school. That was it. There was no...
When you got home, no one was checking your homework.
No one's checking the homework, none of that stuff. So you're kind of like just on our own.
Well, there was also 30 kids' homework to check. There's a lot
and
going
it's
on.
also, too, if your parents first generation from Jamaica,
Yeah.
the schools in Jamaica, the people at the school are on the kids to do the work.
Yeah.
You get to America, you think the schools is the same. Bruh, they just trying to get you going. Take the little test so we get our little money and the kids just fly through.
Right.
They're not really putting the same tenacity on the kids like they would in a small nation like Jamaica. They be on them kids in Jamaica, bro.
Nah, 100%. Those kids smart. The ones that like actually go through the school, them kids smart.
Yeah, man.
Well, this weekend, Saturday night, this is a big night, man. You don't want to think about, I'm guessing, I'm sure you don't want to look past Henry Cejudo, who's a beast, awkward as he may be. But
You're going to hit him with the funk, though.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He's been doing a lot of talking. We both did, but he's been doing more talking and downplaying my abilities and saying I'm easy money. So I'm like, if it's easy money, you should run right through me, and we're going to see. I look forward to smashing this guy.
What are the
really
Vegas
bad.
odds on this fight?
I don't look at the odds.
You don't look?
I don't give a shit about that. Like, my job is to go out there and beat your ass, and that's it. So I plan on getting a second round TKO, pound this guy, pause. You know, I would like to get the submission. That's more my game, but he deserves to be punched. He needs to get punched out. The stuff he's been saying out loud, I'm like, all right, you're going to have to answer for your words. You know, someone's going to be really right and someone's going to be really wrong.
And he don't know that you still hold your brother accountable for stealing
bike.
and selling your bike.
100%.
So he don't know that you ain't going to forget.
I'm not going to forget.
And after the fight, bro, he going to bring it up what you were saying.
Right.
He going to keep receipts, man.
100%. I'm like, this is easy money. You remember what you said? It's
That's
like,
right.
So it is what it is. Like, it's still sportsmanship at the end of the day, but with this sport, you got to crush another man's dreams to accomplish your own. And that's what makes this, like, could be, I don't want to say dark, but makes it a special type of bond that you have in there with your opponent.
What's the realistic dream match out there for you potentially that you were like, if I could get that fight, it would be huge for my life, future, etc.?
I think Volkanovski. But that would be if he retains the belt in July against Yair Rodriguez. And obviously, I would have to beat Henry Cejudo to make something like that a reality. So, take my time, one fight at a time.
One thing at a time.
Yeah,
One thing at a time.
Don't want to look forward. I've done that before, and I stumbled. So I want to make sure I don't do that again. I did it twice.
You lost back-to-back, right?
I lost back-to-back split decision, and then I got my groove back, and I started feeling myself too much again, and then I lost the next one, taking it on short notice. 2 fights later, got knocked out, and it was one of probably the worst knockouts in the UFC. But not a lot of people would bounce back from that.
Why?
A lot of people thought I was done.
Why was the knockout so bad?
I ran face first into a knee. It was like a car crash, just straight up. I shot in as hard as I could, and he threw a kick I think it was a kick to the body, and I ran right into his kneecap. I just woke up in the hospital, came to there, and it was...
You literally, that was it? You started the fight, and then you woke up in the hospital?
Yeah, like a minute in. I remember the exchanges beforehand, and then I came to in the hospital. Like, I remember seeing the knee, and black. Wow. Waking up in the hospital, like, coming to my senses. Like, I was awake, but coming to my senses, actually having a conversation with my brother and everybody else in the hospital, like, not saying the same thing. That's what they kept saying. I kept repeating myself over and over and over. What happened? What happened? Where are we? Where are we? So, yeah, I came to my senses in the hospital, and I was like, fuck, I'm in the hospital. I know what happened. I know what happened.
I didn't win. I probably didn't win.
That was one of the craziest realizations. Like, what's that one? it's like some of those memes on like IG and stuff. You see some of these people like they try something, they press their luck, and then they end up in heaven.
Fuck around and fuck. Yeah. Oh no, like the police training ones, and then they end up.
Do you go right back to watch him? Let me see what happened.
Yeah, I went back and I watched it multiple times. I was like, dude, this is like the stupidest thing I've ever done. And it was all because I overlooked him. I was thinking title shot. This guy's got nothing for me. And yeah, man, this sport's humbling, man. It will remind
And you didn't set up the leg shoot.
Nah,
did you? You just went for it.
Anxious because I almost had him in a submission, and I got up. He had just dropped me, and I got up, and I'm like, I got this guy. Shot in, no setup whatsoever, and just boom.
That's so interesting. I was thinking. I wonder how long it took him to realize. Wait, because like all of these fights are a big deal. Your whole life is about the fight for 4 months, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then in that moment when you realize like it's over, first of all, it's unlikely that I won. Given the
it was a surreal type of like eerie type of feeling, but I learned a lot from that. Just taking your time, being patient, respecting everyone that steps in there. And I'm not gonna do anything different on the night Saturday, but I know he said something about he's a Mexican American, but he said something in an interview that he would never be seen rocking the Mexican flag. That he's parading around in the Mexican flag. It was super weird. It's just like being ashamed of his roots or whatever you want to call it. And he's a strange cat, you know. So I want to beat him up for Cinco de Mayo. That's the plan.
Oh, because now he's trying to
rep for La Raza because they probably mad at him because he ain't repping right.
Yeah, I got a lot of Mexican support. I'm like, my fiance, she's actually a Salvadorian, so she's of Hispanic culture as well. So I look forward to just beating this guy up, put on my sombrero, and
are you gonna go Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah.
You going Floyd?
Oh my gosh.
I like to. If they let me rock it, I'm gonna rock it.
There it goes. Aljamain Sterling, man, the Funkmaster. Nice meeting you, brother.
Thanks for you guys having me, and nice to meet you guys as well.
Yeah, man.
Long Island's on.
Long Island.
Let's go. Saturday night.